on this channel. In this video, we will have our discussion on the concept of seeing the signs of past life connection or some sort of karmic connection with your partner. So now friends, on this topic, although we have had our discussion in some other videos as well, but in this video I will try to summarize everything because I have just talked on bits and pieces in other topics in other videos. So now friends, when I say anything about the relationship, the first thing which comes to our mind is obviously the 7th house. But now friends, over here I want to make one thing very clear, because we are living in that day and age where a lot many youngsters are not planning to get married, and depending on the country, era, culture, in lot many communities people are like they are in open relationship as well. So when I say the significations of the 7th house, is it not going to be valid in those cases? Now over here you have to kind of get yourself enlightened or updated, because friends, all the air houses in our astrological chart just tells about our network, our relationship. Now if I have to compare 3rd house with the 11th house, for example, so 3rd house tells about your relationship with your neighbors, when you step out of your home, the way you relate with your neighbors, like are you a kind of person who's very easygoing, anyone is going to ask you for hangout or something, all those kind of energies we see from the 3rd house. Your younger siblings are also over here in the 3rd house. 11th house is little bit different, because if you will find 11th house to be very prominent, now either person is going to be inclined towards joining some clubs, some membership or organizations where he has some sort of support, some sort of faith or some sort of common ideology over there. Or you will find someone with a prominent 11th house, that person is not that easygoing that anyone is going to ask him and he is going to be hanging out with anyone. The person is going to be very much consciously aware about, like, even if I'm spending time with someone, how this person is contributing towards my personality development, regarding my growth, regarding my process, any of the person's priorities. Now, when we talk about 7th house, friends, 7th house is a very tricky house. Now, on one side, we say that 7th house is the house of your marriage, but we also say that 7th house is also the house of your open enemies. So, because of which 7th house in a way tells about the masses. Now, if you will find any karmic connection which is getting formed over here in the 7th house, then many times what happens is that all those people with whom you have some sort of karmic debt, some sort of karmic connection, all those people will keep on coming into your life. Now this could be giving you some sort of lesson, this could be snatching something away from you which you owe to other people, giving something to you which you deserve. So all of those energies can be anticipated, can be expected if you will find any sort of karmic connection hovering around the matters of the 7th house. But if you will go by the dictums of the Gemini astrology, so over there they have allotted one planet as the Dara Karaka, which exclusively tells about your partner, or which could also be telling about the kind of intentions you have, the kind of qualities which you are seeking in your partner. Now friends, over here try to understand this thing. The way Gemini astrology work on the Karakas, it is completely dependent on the factor of the degrees of the planets. Now why the planet with the highest degree is called as the Atma Karaka or the soul significator planet? It is called that because you can also look at it in this way, that your consciousness is very mature, is very ripe in that specific area of the life which that planet represents. Now why we say that the planet with the lowest degree is the Dara Karaka? Because friends, Dara Karaka in a way is a part of your consciousness which is not mature, which is not developed, and this is the qualities which you are seeking in the outside world. And if someone who will be representing these qualities will enter your life, that person is going to give you completeness. I always say this thing, friends, because in the older times what used to be the case, that we used to follow this dictum that the opposite attract. Now for example, if you are a Libra person, you are so easygoing, you are so social that sometimes you lack that initiating spark. Now if you will be in a relationship, if you being a Libra person, you will be in a relationship with a Aries person, so you both will balance out each other's strength, loopholes and weaknesses. So that is the only reason, friends, all the qualities which you have, which your ascendant represent, opposite to you is the qualities which you lack, which your personality lack, and that is the only reason we seek out for the relationship, so that the moment we will be in a relationship, this person is going to enter our life. This person is going to help us find and attain that sort of completeness. Okay, now friends, so now coming back to the topic which we have to discuss over here is about signs of seeing the karmic connection. So now friends, over here in Vedic astrology, there are two ways via which you can see that. Now, when we talk about from the zodiac sign perspective, so we all know this thing that two karmic signs are Aquarius and Scorpio. So any say of Scorpio or Aquarius in the matters of your 7th house can be a good indication of that. Now, as you know this thing, that the co-rulership of the Scorpio along with the Mars goes to the planet Ketu. Any matters pertaining to the Aquarius, you do not have to only look at Saturn, you also have to look at the co-lord of the Aquarius, which is the planet Rahu. Now friends, same ways. Now let's say for example, if you will even find the placement of Rahu or Ketu in the 7th house, so that can also be seen as a very good sign, because the mere placement of the Ketu in the 7th house is a very good sign that Ketu is looking forward to that degree and sense of perfection, that sense of soul connection. So the mere presence and placement of Ketu in the 7th house asks complete surrender out of you, complete respect in the matters of the 7th house. Now if you're a kind of person who is not consciously aware about your own energies or the energies of the cosmos, like at the end of the day, astrology is the knowledge of living in harmony with the universe, with the cosmic principles. So someone who has got this complete knowledge of astrology, spirituality, his own karma, so that person will never complain, no matter how much bitter experience this person is going through in his matrimonial life. But as this person knows that he has Ketu in the 7th house, he will bow down to that. So friends, the point which I'm saying over here is that one sign is that if you will find the placement of Ketu in the 7th house, that can be seen as a very good sign, that with the placement of Ketu, generally what happens is that whatsoever you owe to the world, so now whether this could be in the matters of your matrimonial life or even in the open market, so this is a placement which tells about you owe to the world something, some sort of entity or element which people will keep on coming in your life and they might take away that from you. Now when we talk about the placement of the Rahu, so now friends, try to understand this thing. Rahu is about accepting it, embracing it. So now over here, it's not only that whichever house Rahu is placed in, we get obsessive regarding the matters of that house, but we also tend to remain in a way lucky in that matter of that house as well, wheresoever Rahu is going to be placed in our charts. So wheresoever Rahu is placed, somehow we receive something, and wheresoever Ketu is placed, we have to give away something. Now friends, if you have to see the signs of karmic connection, so now definitely if in your case you will find that your 7th house lord is making any connection with the 5th house, that can be seen as a very good sign. So this in itself is a very good sign of like a kind of a love marriage as well, and along with that some sort of past life connection with your partner, some sort of karma which needs to be experienced again in this lifetime as well with the same partner or the same representing energies. Now friends, when we talk about that, if you have two charts in front of you, now you are already in relationship and now you are just curious to know that whether I do have some sort of karmic connection with my partner or not. Now over here friends, I want to say this thing, because see many times what happen is that when we run into some people with whom we have some sort of commonly mutually overlapping area of interest, so the moment we come in front of those kind of people, we get that kind of degree and sense of harmony or that degree and sense of likability towards each other. Now imagine if in your this lifetime, going by this fact that you are in that traditional community, that you respect the value and ethics of a marriage. So imagine if you have to spend your almost half of the life with a person, so why you will not get that sort of vibe or energy once that person is going to come in front of you. So my friends, over for these kind of connections, all what you have to see is that once you have both the charts open in front of you, you have to see the connection between the Ketu in both of these two charts. So now let's say for example, if in one person's natal chart, Ketu is placed in, let's say for example, because we have to look forward to the 3-11 combination. So if you will find that in one person's chart, either Rahu and Ketu axis is in the same houses, in the same zodiac signs, that could be seen as a very win-win situation. Or let's say for example, if you will find that Ketu in both of the charts is making 3-11 combination in a way that in one person's natal chart, Ketu is placed in the Leo. In another person's chart, Ketu is placed in the Libra. Or in one person's chart, Ketu is placed in the Aries. In another person's chart, Ketu is placed in the Gemini. So that can be seen as a very good sign. 3-11 combination is generally considered as good. Now friends, the second thing is that if you will find that whatsoever planet is your 7th house lord. So let's say for example, if you are a Aries rising person, so your 7th house lord becomes the planet Venus. So now what you have to do is that if you will find that your Venus is placed in the for example in the Aquarius sign, and if in your partner's chart as well Venus is going to be placed in the like Aquarius sign, that can be seen as a very good sign. So that could be seen as a second kind of criteria, where you will find that your 7th house lord is placed in whichsoever sign in your partner's chart as well, that same specific planet is placed in the same sign. Now friends, another alignment which is generally written and agreed on so many books is that if you will find that whatsoever planet is your 7th house lord in your main Lagan chart, and that planet is kind of in a combination with Ketu in another partner's natal chart. So now let's say for example, if in one person's chart you will find that the 7th house lord is the planet Mars, like this person A has got a Taurus rising, his 7th house lord is the planet Mars. Now if you will open the chart of the partner of this person, you will find that Mars is conjunct with Ketu. So that can also be seen as a very good sign. And lastly friends, in a lot many studies it has been also found that if you will find the Dara Karaka to be of the same planet in both of the two people's chart, that can also be seen as a very good sign that somehow the qualities which you are looking forward, because at the end of the day Dara Karaka just represents the kind of qualities which you are seeking, the kind of qualities or energies which is going to give you fulfillment. Now when I say qualities, that's very simple. When we talk about Mercury, it has everything to do with the discriminatory intelligence, it has to do with the quickness, with the youthfulness, spontaneity. If it is about Jupiter, so it's about the wisdom. This is the quality which you will be looking forward to. If it is about Saturn, if your Dara Karaka is Saturn, so somehow maturity, responsibility is something which you will be looking forward to. Venus, it has everything to do with the beauty, with the relationship management, love. So that is how friends you can see that if Dara Karaka is going to be same for two people, that can be seen as a very good sign. And lastly friends, because none of the discussion is going to be complete without including the nakshatras. So now if you will find that if your 7th house lord is placed in a specific nakshatra, now let's say for example your 7th house lord is placed in the Magha nakshatra. So Magha is a nakshatra of the Ketu. So now if you will find Ketu to be placed in another person's 1st house or 7th house, that can also be seen as a very good sign. Now let's say for example if the 7th house lord is placed in the Punarvasu nakshatra. Now Punarvasu is a nakshatra which is being ruled by the planet Jupiter. If in another person's chart you will find that the rising sign is of Jupiter ruled sign of Sagittarius or Pisces, or Jupiter is placed in the 1st house of another person's chart, that can be seen as a very good sign of some sort of past life karmic connection or a soul level connection. So these are the few things friends which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs on this topic of seeing that sort of connection, soul level connection or karmic connection between two people in a loving harmonious relationship. So this is something friends which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. For further more updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page.